Okay. Well, I'm so glad y'all are
Mm.
here tonight. We're going to be hearing from a few ladies that just are really special and have some really special stories to tell. And I hope that there's something that you can relate to when you hear these stories because no two people are the same and none of our testimonies are the same. So it's just really a huge blessing to be able to do this with people who are like-minded, who love Jesus and want to help other people. So we're glad you're here. So we're going to start out hearing from Justine. She is a athletic trainer and a teacher, a full-time mom to some of the sweetest kids, and she's got a pretty cool story. So take it away.
Well, you are so sweet, Amy. Thank you. Okay, so when I talk about my story, I tend to get kind of long-winded. So just because I've really enjoyed it and this hair, sorry. Okay. So I'm going to try to keep it really short. First off, I was super skeptical when I first started. I really just joined to or started the products to support my husband. He was going through a really big weight loss journey, and we were making changes this for the overall family health. And so this fell into our laps, and I was like, sure, why not? We'll give it a shot. Um, I will give you a little history. I've always been hypoglycemic. Um, Borderline hypothyroidism, all of that stuff. And with my low blood sugar, I've always carried snacks with me. Always, no matter where I went, I had some kind of food with me. Um, so when I started with just this simple triplex, it took me about 2 months of being really consistent with it when I started noticing some really big changes for me. I noticed that I wasn't carrying my snacks, I wasn't using my snacks. My blood sugar was actually balanced all day long. I am almost 2 years into this, and I have yet to have any sugar crashes. I haven't passed out. I don't worry about my blood sugar anymore. And it's been amazing. I've actually been able to lose a little bit of weight, and keep it off. And I would not have done that if I was constantly worrying about my blood sugar. So that was a huge moment for me. Um, and that was kind of my selling point. Like that, I was done after that. I was content and I was happy. I started sharing about my experience, and with that, I decided that I needed to try some other products. And last December, I decided to start with Vital Biome. Like she's talked about, I'm super busy with everything. And sometimes my job gets really, really stressful. And Vital Biome was talking about can relieve some tension from stress and things like that. So I was like, I'll give it a try. Um, Not really thinking that it would help that much. Yet again, don't know why I was so skeptical still. Um, but I started taking it, and actually was bragging to my friends like I was getting everything done off my list. I had all my Christmas shopping done. I had them all wrapped. I had them all organized between which family we were going to. My class stuff was done. I was getting ready for the spring semester. Like I had everything done. And I never put the two together. Never at all. So we go into Christmas break, and just with everything going on, I get off of my routine. I stop taking some of my products. I miss a day, things like that. I come back in January, go back to school. Within a couple days of being back in school, I carry my tension and my stress up in my shoulders. I was having huge muscle knots, so much tension in my shoulders that it was actually pinching nerves and sending all kinds of shocks down my arms and tingling and all of that. Like I was so stressed. And I thought, I need to get back on that. I need to not feel overwhelmed, and see if that is actually what was the factor in how I felt in December. And within about 4 or 5 days of starting back with my Vital Biome, all of that was gone. I was getting things knocked off my list again. The tension in my shoulders was gone. And I had the most amazing, stress-free, I guess you could say, most organized spring that I've ever had in my career. I actually talked about an athletic trainer, and there's 5 or 6 different sports going on at the same time. I have to be in multiple places sometimes, so it can be stressful. And that little thing just changed everything for me. So that was my second time to have a big moment. And I can't thank Plexus and my sponsor and all of that enough, because it's been amazing. One last thing that I'm going to talk about is the kids line. And if I get a little emotional, I'm sorry. But my kids, my oldest, she's always suffered with eczema. And when she would get really bad flare-ups, it'd be painful. She'd cry. It was just a big whole ordeal. And she was always my sick kid, I guess you could say. She was always sick, catching every little bug, constantly getting colds, things like that. And so, after my experience with Vital Biome, I was like, you know what? I'm done. We're going all in. And so we ordered the kids line, and we started taking it, and she was doing great. She wasn't getting sick in the spring. And so it was great. I was loving it. We go into the summer yet again. We kind of get out of our little routine, especially with the kids. They're everywhere all the time, and then they finally crash and go to sleep. And so it's like, oh, I can't stuff a pill, or I can't make them drink something. So we just get out of that routine again. Um, Summertime, constantly in the water and putting on sunscreen and all of that fun stuff that kids do. Um, and when we got back home from our long vacation, she had a huge flare up. Um, and I can when I get done here, I'll put some pictures in the chat. But that was my moment. I broke down. I was like, I can't do this. I feel like the worst mom in the world for forgetting something, and having this experience with her. She actually reminds me just about every day, Mom, I gotta have my Plexus. Where is it? Like, so she knows the value in it as well. And and two, I've noticed this school year, she's actually not getting sick anymore. And I have to believe that that's all because of the Plexus Kids lines, and what it's done for her. Because when she gets sick, we have to be on antibiotics, and it causes all kinds of other little rashes, UTIs. Like, it's not fun at all. And it's this whole vicious cycle. Um, Sometimes she even gets really constipated. Like, we don't have to deal with that anymore. And she's simply just on the kids line, and it's been amazing. So, like I said, I'll post some pictures of just her reaction with her eczema, but that's kind of it for me in a little nutshell. I hope it didn't take too long.
No, that's great. Yeah, and the kids line is something that doesn't get talked about a whole lot, but I mean, kids have guts too, so it makes sense. I have a question for you though, Justine. When Gracie had that flare up in the summertime and you got her back on her products consistently, how quickly after you got her started again did you start to notice a change for the better?
For her, it was about 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Um, yes. So for her, it changed very quickly. Um, we were doing just some lotions too, but that always, at first, it was more that's what really flared her up or caused some pains. But I actually kind of in the first 2 or 3 days doubled up on her dosage just to kind of restart and kind of reboot her system. So her turnaround was a lot quicker than mine was with the Vital Biome, but it was still shocking actually to see the results. So the pictures that are side by side that I'm going to try to figure out how to post um, are within a week, like within just a few days, honestly.
Wow.
So it's been amazing.
Wow. That's incredible. And that's one thing is, it's not it's natural products. It's not an overnight turnaround. You're not going to see overnight success. But the cool thing is like if you do need to double up for some extra support or whatever you can versus like taking a pill, you need to take just the recommended dosage and then there's all these side effects. And so yeah, that's wonderful. I'm so glad she's doing so well. So next we're going to hear from Madeline Ruth, and I have only officially met Madeline Ruth in person a couple of times, and y'all, she is just the sweetest person. I mean, she is just like I am her friend, but like if we lived close together, we would hang out because she is just so adorable. She works for Baylor, and she is just you're gonna love what she has to say. So take it away, Madeline Ruth.
Oh my gosh, Amy, you're so sweet. That's very kind. Right back at you. Well, I'm really excited to share my story. There were lots of things that Justine shared that I could definitely relate to. I originally started being familiar with Plexus, hearing about Plexus because my mom was taking it because of her hypoglycemia. And she was the same way, like had snacks my whole growing up. I mean, she had an apple and she had orange juice, like ready to go. And so I knew like that was the norm. And then she started taking Plexus and that went away. And like in the past, 4 or 5 years, I haven't seen her carry those around ever. And so that was how I first got introduced with Plexus. But I was also very skeptical. I did a lot of shadowing like medical professionals growing up, a lot of exposure into the medical world. And so I was like all in medication. And I definitely think that there's a place for that in some circumstances and a need for that in a lot of ways. But my personal story with Plexus really started growing when I was about 16. I was having really awful periods, and my PMS symptoms would just knock me out every month. And I was having cysts, not so much that it was um, like a PCOS thing, but I was just, I mean, on the floor in a fetal position every month and hoping that one didn't burst and like all these things. So, um, ended up going to the doctor, to my OB/GYN, and got on birth control. Great, that helped. I never had a period and I was living my best little high school life. And it was fine. And it did help in a lot of ways. And I didn't have cysts anymore, and it was great. But whenever I got into college, I started digging into what is more of a holistic health look in my life, lifestyle look like, and what are some of the downsides of the medication that I was taking, and is there any way to even heal from this? Like, how do I go from taking Advil around the clock for a week at a time every single month, which is destroying your insides, to something more maintainable? Like, does it have to be this way? Really became my question. And so I tried Plexus, very skeptical, very much like, I'm going to see how it doesn't work. Um, and then it worked, and I kept going and I kept being consistent. I think what Amy said earlier about how it's not an overnight thing is legitimate. It is not an overnight quick fix because it is natural products, and those have to dig deep. If you put crap into your system for decades, you cannot expect it to be fixed in 30 days. So for me, I started seeing little changes like energy and during the day and less cravings and things like that. But my big wins came about 6 months in, whenever I was like, oh, I don't really need as much Advil to get through my month. And then, oh, a year later, I was able to completely get off the birth control that I was taking to manage those symptoms. Haven't been on it since. And that allowed me to then take X Factor and try to balance out my hormones and naturally. And I realized, oh, I haven't had allergies in a year. And that was a huge win for me because I was always taking Claritin and Benadryl, which Benadryl has like and Claritin have bladder retention issues. So I was like, y'all, I cannot win with these medications. And so just those things, getting off of the daily medications, not having to take allergy medicine, not having to take birth control, not having to take Advil was huge. So it's been a couple years now and still off all of those things, which quality of life has been amazing. Yeah, Justine, I didn't realize the allergies were tied to gut health either, but it makes sense. It's an aspect of inflammation in your body. Um, basically, just to summarize, I really have dug into the business side of things because not only did I want to get my own products paid for and also to build an income for myself and my family, but I also was like, I know there are other people out there struggling with symptoms that they don't even realize are gut health related symptoms and that they don't even know that it doesn't have to be that way. And so now I feel like I'm on mission. I'm in my 20s. And so now I feel like I'm on mission to share with people it does not have to be that way. You don't have to grin and bear it every day. And so there are things, really deep things that people carry. And it's not a one size fits all, like one product fits everyone the same way, but we really work hard to help you find your right fit so that your body can heal in the ways that we've seen our bodies heal, and in different ways too. So that's kind of my story, and it's been great. Now I have my family on it for all sorts of different issues that they have, and it's been sweet just to see kind of each different family member slowly come around and sneak the pink drink or like, oh, I'm gonna take this for my constipation. And I'm like, yeah, you will, because Miralax is out the window. So it's been sweet to have it be more of a family affair and know that you're making generational impact with health. So that's my story. If anyone has questions, they're more than welcome to drop it in the chat or something. I'm pretty much an open book. So
That's awesome, Madeline Ruth. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I absolutely love that these younger people are getting a hold of, sorry, my husband's coming upstairs, that these younger people are getting a hold of like feeling better and doing it in a healthy way. That just excites me to no end. So I am super thrilled to introduce you to Lindsay. Lindsay is actually in college and she got started on the products not too long ago and saw the value of sharing it with her friends. And she is just so genuine and authentic and just a precious, precious person. So, Lindsay, you're up, girl.
Thank you, Amy. That's so sweet. So a little bit about myself is I'm a sophomore at Texas State University and I am 19. A little bit about my background is I did cheerleading for around 7 years and I always considered myself relatively healthy. I never like had to work to lose any weight or anything like that, but I did struggle with constant like stomach pain after eating certain foods, which was a huge thing for me, and then bloating as well. And I also struggled with acne, which was that can be like kind of embarrassing for a lot of people. But another major thing that I also struggled with was my irregular bowels. I would go sometimes a couple of days, sometimes a few days, which is not healthy in case you didn't know. Um, but I thought that these were things that everyone dealt with until I started seeing my friend Shelby posting. And I saw that she was posting info about gut health, and I was like, I want to know more. I'm curious. I want to not have my stomach hurt after eating and not struggle with bloating and constipation. Um, So we talked and had conversations, and I was kind of hesitant at first. I didn't really believe that the products were going to work. So it took a little consistency, and I'm so thankful that she stuck it out through with me because I got to start Triplex, and I also got to do the reset. And with that reset, I noticed like how much I was actually craving food throughout the day that wasn't necessarily food that I needed. I just wanted that craving to be filled. And at the end of day two, my cravings were reduced and I was not feeling any brain fog. I wasn't as tired. And my water intake had increased, which is important for me because I have a couple of kidney issues, but I also was excited to start the triplex. And so I started the triplex and I was excited to get the pink drink going because I saw everyone posting their results. Um, and after taking the products for about 3 weeks, I started noticing a lot of change. I was no longer bloated and I was going to the bathroom every day, sometimes twice a day, which was huge for me because I wasn't going. My stomach no longer hurt after I ate foods, which is another huge thing for me because sometimes I wouldn't eat because my stomach would hurt from those foods. But um, yeah, and my acne cleared up. My face looks hopefully pretty clear right now, but it's cleared up a lot. But that's pretty much like my story of Plexus and I wasn't even interested in the business side really until I started seeing that these products worked and Shelby was like, "Hey, you can, share these products and make a little extra." And I was like, "Okay, sign me up. I want to do this." And I am so excited and I feel the same that Madeline said where it doesn't have to be this way, the things that people are feeling, and it's helped me so much, and I really am trying to help others as well. So that's basically my story. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Lindsay. And I'm so glad that you are starting your adult life in a really healthy way. And that's huge. It's going to serve you well later on. So, okay. So up next we have Laura, and I have actually never met her in person. And this will be the first time I've even heard her story. And so I am really excited about this. So you're up, girl. Okay, hang on. You're muted.
I got it. Okay, so I am Laura. I am 42, fixing to be. And I started in June, June 11th. And I started because I was plumb miserable. My stomach hurt all of the time. We had been trying to eat healthy, have been for a long time, but I never could get my stomach to feel better. My hormones were terrible, and I've literally had eczema since I was a baby. It's bad. And I was on 5 different allergy pills a day from the doctor's office. It was terrible. And so I started after months of Rebecca trying to say, "Hey, you want to try it?" And I was like, "No, I don't have the money. Don't have the money." But I finally was like, I'm just tired of it. I tried Miralax because the doctors are like, "You're just so stopped up that you need to use the Miralax." But the Miralax did nothing for me. Then we did Bloom, and we were doing that. Me and my husband were doing that. And it would sometimes work, but not real good. And I still hurt all the time. And so then I was like, I'm sick of it. So like, I'm going to try it and see if it works, but I can't afford it. So I'm going to try to sell it too to make my products back. And so now we're into almost 6 months, almost 6 months of doing it. I no longer take any allergy pills at all. My hormones are finally back into where I don't have hot flashes in the middle of the night, which is great. Then my stomach never hurts. I don't get the bloated. I don't get the yucky feeling. I go to the bathroom every day. We still eat good and we're still doing great. My husband started it about 3 months ago, and he's not missed a day because he feels so good on it. And so that's helped him with weight loss too. And so, which I've lost some, but the main things was I just needed to feel better. My stomach hurt, my um my allergies were terrible, and so it's worked out great for us, and we've enjoyed it. My kids like the drinks. They started on the kids Plexus stuff, and so they like ours better than theirs, but that's just that's kids for you. So, but that's our story, and we love our products, and so we continue to take them all the time.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And it's so neat to me that there's people that have been doing this for years and people that have just been doing this for a couple of months. And it's neat just to see what
Mhm.
wins you can have in such a short amount of time. And so that is so exciting. Well, so if I didn't say it at the beginning, which I probably didn't, my name's Amy Price. And I've actually been taking Plexus products for a couple of years now. And I was like Justine, I was a huge skeptic. And that's just kind of my personality, like, I don't know, I think it's kind of how I was raised. But my husband actually had gotten information about Plexus from a mutual friend, and he kind of came home one day talking about it, and I rolled my eyes, and I thought it was just this weird health gimmick thing because he comes home with weird stuff from time to time. Like one time he came home and he said, I want to lose weight, let's eat nothing but rice for 30 days. And I'm like, what? So I thought this was going to be his weird health gimmick thing, and I rolled my eyes and I was like, I'm just not going to say anything and he'll go away. He did not go away. He kept coming back. And of course, the girl that he was talking to was sending videos and all this stuff. And I was like, she's just trying to make a sale. Like, I know what this is. She's just trying to make a sale. And he's like, no, I really think we need to do this. And I was, I was like, well, we're not unhealthy. Yeah, I mean, we're over 40, but we're not on a lot of prescriptions. Like, we're not on any prescriptions, probably because we don't ever go to the doctor and we probably should, but anyway, um I just was like, we're healthy, we don't need this. And he was like, no, I really think we need to do this. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, if we're going to do it, we're going to have to cut back in some areas because this stuff is expensive. And so we got the product recommendations, and of course it was recommended to start with Reset. And I thought, she probably just said it because that's the most expensive thing they sell. Y'all, I was so bad and so skeptical, but I did it. I was like, if you really want to do this, I'll be supportive and I'll do it. So I did. The Reset comes in, and our Reset and Triplex is what we started on. Reset comes in, and I did it grudgingly, not very supportively. Um, First day, I was like, this is stupid. This is awful. I hate it. I just want to chew something. And day two, I had a detox headache and I griped the whole time. Day three rolls around and I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of proud of myself for doing this, but I'm not going to tell him. By day four, I woke up and I was like, wow, okay, so there might be something to this. Had noticed I slept great, had a lot of energy. And even though I was ready to eat real food, I noticed that I wasn't craving junk like I did before. And so I told him, I was like, okay, I'm going to shut my mouth and I'm going to do this with a better attitude. So I did, super consistent with triplex. And then I started noticing that there must have been things that I was really experiencing and wasn't giving myself credit for. And I started realizing like that I wasn't bloated all the time. I had energy at 2 p.m. And that was so rare because I had just bought into the lie that because I was over 40, that was just normal. Like, you're over 40 now and everything goes to pot. You're never going to sleep good. You're not going to have any energy. You're not going to digest your food as well. Your cholesterol goes up, your blood pressure goes. I mean, it's just part of the aging process. And I had just bought into that and just decided that that was normal. I was constipated my entire life. And I just, like, I made jokes about it that my body was so efficient. I only had to go every 3 days, like how ridiculous is that? But it was just, lies I had bought into. And so I started just having all these little wins that I didn't realize that I was really needing in my life. I was eating and not feeling terrible within 30 minutes. And y'all, we don't really eat that bad at our house. We eat pretty clean. But my husband and I own a construction company, and there was days it was really hard to get through the day because we were just exhausted and had a little bit of that muffin top thing going on. And so we started just noticing trimming down, and the inflammation in our body was getting better. And so I told him, I was like, oh, look, I'm going to do this with you, but I'm not going to sell it. I don't have time for that. I'm not interested in it. It's just, I'm not going to do it. He's like, no, no, no. You're busy. It's okay. It's good. About 4 months into us taking our products, both of our girls ended up having to have some major surgeries. And being that we're self-employed, we have not great insurance. And within probably about 6 weeks of each other, they had surgeries, and we were over $20,000 in medical bills. And I just decided that I was already telling my friends how good I was feeling. And I thought, well, I might as well get paid for it because it would really help us out right now, even if we just get our products paid for. And my first month of sharing, I actually chickened out. I told my sponsor, I was like, yeah, I'll tell some people. And then I chickened out. And it was like 10 days later before I actually told anybody. And so in 2.5 weeks, I made $900. And it was just, I could see the blessing that it was going to be. And I was so glad. Can y'all hear me okay? Because my internet, I think, is acting up. I was just really, really glad that we had started the products and had been consistent and had seen the wins, because then it was like, okay, now I can see some wins for my entire family beyond just feeling great. We were able to pay off some medical bills and have a little bit of relief in our pocketbook. And so just the blessing of Plexus goes on and on and on. And so I know you probably have a lot of questions based on what you've heard tonight. And I hope there's something that you could relate to, whether it was the gripey wife who thinks there's nothing wrong, or just feeling bloated, or low blood sugar, or diabetes, and by the way, my husband's blood pressure is lower. And he's never been diagnosed with like high blood pressure, but he's always been borderline high, and his blood pressure is perfect now. So, I mean, there's just so many wins. So I hope you could relate to something tonight. But thank the person that invited you and ask the questions, get the information, and we just can't wait to hear your wins and celebrate with you too. So thank you again for being on. I don't want to keep you any longer because time is precious. So again, thank you. If you have any questions, ask your people. Love you, ladies.